You're braver than you believe, and stronger than you seem, and smarter than you think.
Oh, that's easy.
There's this wonderful quotation that comes from a fellow who lived a long time ago. His name was Meister Eckhart, 13th century Catholic priest. He was a Dominican priest, known to be one of the really great mystics of the era. As a matter of fact, he was so popular among the people, and he spoke so profoundly that the church was very reluctant to sanction him in any way. So they waited until he died in order to burn all of the copies of his works that they could find. And of course, they weren't able to do that, and he has persisted right on down today. And he made this comment, a very, very simple comment. And I hope you never forget this, or the idea. If the only prayer you said in your whole life was, thank you, that would suffice. And I'm going to be talking about this today. I'm going to be talking about gratitude, the value, the importance, and the power of gratitude in your life. If the only prayer you ever said was thank you, that would suffice. Last week I sent out a notice, I think it was last Friday night. Some of you got it. If you're on our basic mailing list, emailing list, you got it. It was a little article that appeared in a blog of Jane Claypool. Some of you remember this maybe? Maybe you didn't read it. Maybe you don't even check your email. But Jane Claypool is a religious science minister, and she has this blog. And she sent it out to all of the ministers, and I read it, and I thought, this is good stuff. And so I copied it, and I sent it out to all of you. No, I sent you the link. That's what it was. You would have had to do something, and that's probably why most of you are looking at me with a blank. And that meant you'd have to put your cursor over the link and click on it. But at any rate, Jane Claypool was saying, she was talking about the times, the rough times that we're in right now, a little bit. I mean, this is alluded to throughout the whole article. And he says, sometimes we really get off track. And she started off, no, she didn't start off, but partway into the article, she says this, and I think it's really significant. I am writing my monthly check to the Center of Spiritual Living, not ours, one out in California. And I pause, wondering if I want to increase the amount. It would be a perfect time to add to my tithe because the economic news is terrible right now, and I'm determined to believe what I know, not what I see on CNN. I added 25% to my usual donation. Now, what does that have to do with gratitude? What that has to do with gratitude is she's able to go within herself, look at the overall situation, recognize that she is acknowledging her own havingness. I don't know if that is a word, but you know what I mean. Real prosperity in our lives grows out of a sense of knowing that we already have. Can you think of anything about which you can be more grateful for that? Well, I can. I can think of a lot of things. You know, love, wonderful family, and so forth. But to prosper literally means to thrive, to flourish, to be successful in what you undertake to do. So when we're talking about prospering, we're talking about all of those facets. Anyway, she says one last thing I want to say here, and then I got a message back from Paula Kelly. You know her. She's Tito Menchaca's wife. He plays for us up here periodically. Anyway, but I'll come to her in a moment. But I'm not going to read all of this. It's a long article. But Jane Claypool says this. She says, we must envision instead of yearn, believe instead of whine, and accept instead of denying. We must routinely send the message to the universe that we are abundant and we accept more. If you believe that, you must act on that belief. You cannot say, I'm poor, I'm not rich, and then or say, I am rich. That's it. You cannot say, thank God I am rich, and then squeeze your last dime. You must learn to share your abundance with others so you can come back. It can come back to you, pressed down, multiplied, and overflowing, which is a biblical quotation. Now, Paula wrote me back and she says, thank you for this. It really struck a tone with me. And coincidentally, I love that word, I just happened to read another article tonight. And here is an excerpt from that article. And again, it's a long one. I'm just going to pick a couple of things in here that she says that I just really like. Money is energy. Not a new idea. As a matter of fact, if you want to read a wonderful book that I read some number of years ago, I can't remember the authors. It's a Spanish name, but it was called Your Money or Your Life. And then the subtitle, I think, was something like, It's Your Choice. Money is energy, and the universe has an infinite supply of energy. The majority limit their supply of money by limiting the energy that flows to them. If you believe in scarcity, you will probably constantly struggle with money issues. If you want to keep a positive supply of that energy flowing towards you, this can be accomplished by feeling good about letting go of anything you want to flow to you, including money. Let me repeat, feel good about letting go of money. Wow, that flies right in the face of our economic situation today, doesn't it? And you say, and what does all this have to do with gratitude? Well, we'll talk a little bit about that. That's the whole theme of what we're talking about here this morning. You see, we attract to us according to whatever it is to which we give our attention. That's a simple principle. The title of this talk this morning is Gratitude, Basis of the Law of Attraction. You know, a big deal was made over the law of attraction just a few years ago when The Secret came out, the book The Secret and the movie The Secret. And it's really lightweight kind of stuff. Profound, but lightweight. And it was good because it introduced a lot of people to a concept that they'd never even thought about before. But the idea of the law of attraction is implicit in what has been taught in teachings like these forever. And Dr. Ernest Holmes has a whole chapter in his book, The Science of Mind, on gratitude. The more grateful we are, the less distracted we are from all the things that come along and create disturbances in our own mind, keeping us from seeing the good that exists right there, right now. The more, on the other hand, that we gripe, moan, complain, gritch, and deny, the more we are going to attract the very same kind of thing to us. The more gratitude, the less moaning and groaning and complaining and griping and discounting of the good that exists in our life. And the principle is, as I have already said, we attract that upon which we place our focus. And you've heard me say this before numerous times. What we appreciate, appreciates. It's just like an investment. It will appreciate. And what we appreciate, that is that for which we are grateful, will appreciate. It will multiply. Gratitude or complaining and moaning, it's your choice. And I hope you're getting the idea of what the impact that can be on you in your life. Gratitude and appreciation are among, I think, the most transformative energies that there are. When you think of energy being the result of what you have given your effort, your attention, your consciousness to. It's something that you want to be able to multiply in your life. By giving gratitude for what you have in your life, for what you are, you find that you are uplifted so you can see more of what is there. Gratitude is a conscious process of becoming aware of all that life holds for us and acknowledging that gift. That's what the law of attraction is all about. Like attracts like. I've heard it said that gratitude equals wealth. And when I heard that, I come from a scientific background, so all the mathematics and stuff that I've done in undergraduate and graduate schools, whenever I hear somebody say this is equal to that, I think immediately, wait a minute, are they really talking about an equality or an identity between these two different things? Or are they talking about an equivalency or a proportionality or something of that sort? But I took this at it as it was stated. Wealth equals gratitude. If that's the case, then gratitude equals wealth. They are identical. If you have one, you have the other. What a fantastic principle. Can you see that? Can you feel it? The idea is by feeling more grateful, you're going to feel more wealthy. Thereby, you're going to attract more abundance in your life. All we have to do is practice gratitude. Practice gratitude. Well, what do we mean by that? Well, there are two kinds of gratitude. Well, at least there are two kinds that I can think of. And one is what I call the most effective way, and the other is the regular, ordinary, everyday kind of gratitude that we have. And I want to talk about that everyday, ordinary kind of gratitude. It is based in the domain of material things, and the other one, the effective way, is really spiritual way or holistic way, is based in an awareness of your own being. And they're both very, very important. First of all, the ordinary way, based in material things, spawns thoughts of material possessions, a place to live, your health, your family and friends, your job, your skills, your talents, your vacations, and all of the kind of stuff that you surround yourself with. All of which are deserving of our gratitude. I have a wonderful little quote here by a woman named Sarah Van Brethnick. I found her online. She says, the thing about gratitude that constantly amazes me is how fresh it is, and how it is a moving attitude. It's not passive. It's very passionate. I use it in different ways. If you're struggling with a particular problem, such as money or relationship or family or health, if you concentrate to find something to be grateful for in that particular issue, it'll open you up to the good that surrounds you. That's the most important thing about gratitude. It's like opening the door and finding behind it treasures that you never even knew were in this house. It slows you down and stops the whining. That's that basic level, the ordinary way. The way of expressing gratitude for the things that you have accomplished, the things that you have experienced, the things that you possess in your life. And this is what we think of when we start making lists of that for which we are grateful. The old saying of count your blessings, a song about count your blessings. And there's nothing wrong with this. It's a useful thing to do. It's better than dwelling on lack and limitation. But there is a deeper kind of gratitude, which I call the spiritual way, the holistic way, the effective way. And that is the one that carries you beyond the material level in your gratitude practice. This is a place that is independent of your situations, your circumstances. any people in your life, the things of your life. And it's not a mysterious, mystical, altered state of consciousness where you sit back with your hands turned to the heavens and your eyes rolled in the back of your head till you get a headache waiting for God to regurgitate out of the heavens all of the knowledge and inspiration. You know, a lot of people are looking for some kind of experience of that sort. They learn to meditate, for instance. I'm a meditator for the last 40 years or so, and a lot of people learn to meditate and they think they have to have a lot of music and a lot of incense and a lot of this and a lot of that, and some of this can be okay, but it can also be a terrible distraction. The meditation is for one purpose and one purpose alone, that is to get clear on the essential reality of who you are. And when we clutter our environment with a lot of these things that can be distractions, we may be standing in the way of our having to deal with ourselves. And it's difficult to meditate. So we distract ourselves and think we're doing something. But at any rate, that's another story. This is what carries you beyond the material level in your gratitude practice. And this is the place where it's totally independent of the circumstances, the situations, any of the things in your life, and it's not mysterious. It is simply a process of coming into a greater awareness through reminding yourself of the wonder of life itself. And this is what allows you to emerge with the feeling of a gratitude for life, for everything that you experience, rather than just a temporary emotional response for what a great thing it is that you got the new pair of shoes that you want. And there's nothing wrong with being grateful for that. But it's an underlying attitude that is based in a real appreciation for the existence of life itself. The practice of gratitude. How do you practice gratitude? Well, you turn away from the negative. You turn away from those distractions. And sometimes you have to be reminded on a regular basis to do that. I used to carry around in my pocket, and I stuck it back into my pocket today, a little stone. And this was my gratitude stone. And some of you, if you have seen The Secret or read the book, you remember the gratitude stone. It's a great idea. Every time I'd reach into my pocket, I'd feel that, and I'd say to myself, thank you, God. Thank you for this wonderful life. Thank you for my wife. Thank you for my two cats. Thank you for, it was, whatever it is that popped into my mind at the time. Well, I keep this on my dresser at home now, but instead I have this little coin, and you may recognize this because you sent it to me. This is a little compass, north, south, east, and west. And I carry this around with me. And this not only is my reminder to be thankful, but it is my reminder to ask myself, am I on course? And I love that idea. Am I on course? Am I doing the things that I know I'm here to do and the things I need to do in order to be fulfilled in this life? But every time I reach into this pocket and I reach for some change, I feel around, there it is. And when I look at it, I get inspired. And thank you for this. I appreciate it. The things for which we become grateful, what are they that transcend the older kind of gratification or the more ordinary kind of expression of gratitude? Your freedom of choice, that's a big one. Your life, the universe and the creation itself, your consciousness, problems and challenges. Have you ever been grateful for your problems and challenges? Where would you be had you not encountered problems and had challenges that have taken you that next step in your life, however difficult they may be? And sometimes they're difficult. And I have experienced some things that I'm so grateful for, and I don't ever want to experience them again. And I'm sure most of us have been there. But the courage with which we can deal with some things in our life prepares us oftentimes to deal with the good of life that ultimately must come. than there are our own ideas and our own concepts. How great it is to just plain exist in this experience. How grateful are you for the pure adventure of life? You see, this is the place I'm talking about where there is no attachment to the circumstances, the outcomes, the results. And this is the place, as we begin to move into that we finally begin to feel more than we have ever felt before, a freedom. And that's a freedom to love and a freedom to be loved. And consequently, this is a space where there's no fear of change. There's relatively little fear of anything that comes into your life, fear of loss. It's because you become open to the overall flow. And the stuff of life becomes the result of your enjoyment of life. Think about that. Not the cause of it. How often have you thought, if I only had this, or I only had that, or I only had the other thing, then I would be happy. But I think if we can begin to really appreciate where we are, to be able to give ourselves totally to the goodness of this right now, then we open ourselves to experience all the rest. There's a wonderful quote here. I wasn't even sure I was going to use it, and now I am. By that same woman that I mentioned a moment ago. She says this: I woke up one day 11 years ago and I was sick of the sound of my own whining. I never complained to anyone else, but I did to myself. I just couldn't take it, and I told myself, sit down. And don't get up until you give me 100 reasons why your life is perfect. 6 or 7 hours later, I had done that, and it really opened my eyes, and it continues to open my eyes. See, she had gotten to that point where she was no longer willing to live her life the way she was living it, and instead really let go. And this is what it takes. It takes a kind of releasing in order to be able to open yourself to the full experience of life. And you can only do that by recognizing that you have everything in your life for which to be grateful right now. And sometimes we have these deep, deep longings, these urgings, and these pains that keep bubbling up for us. As a result of that, we give it so much attention that we cannot see the beauty and the joy and the love that we're already experiencing here. At the practical level, what I'm talking about is that this means that as your gratitude becomes more unconditional, your life becomes more open to the good that there is. And this is the place where your seeking of the kingdom indeed is going to allow all else to come to you. You remember that verse in the Bible. Seek ye first the kingdom of God and His righteousness, and all other things shall be added unto you. And the key there is in the seeking. It's not so much in the getting, but it is in giving yourself over to the seeking in gratitude that there is a flow of all good things that will fulfill your every need. And this is where you have really activated the law of attraction. Let's have a little centering now and do a little prayer, shall we? Let us be reminded that there is but one life, and that life is God. That life is this infinite something. We call it the presence, we call it God, we call it Yahweh, we call it Allah, we call it by all names. I think this is perhaps why some disciplines say that we cannot speak the name of God, because it is so vast, it is unspeakable, it is unknowable. But whatever it is, we know that it is the source, and that in the beginning, that's all there was. At some point, the physicists would say that singularity within the creative process, everything sprung forth into creation. And I believe that beyond this, behind this singularity, is God itself. And everything sprung out of that, therefore I must be that, as is everyone else here. This is what it means to have been made in the image and likeness of God. What God is at that infinite level, I am at that finite level, that particulate level, this human level, for the experience that I'm having right now, as is so for everyone else and those that are here before me this morning. When I begin to realize this, I know, I see clearly that I am already dwelling within this field of unlimited possibilities and opportunity. It is infinite abundance, it is infinite love, it is infinite creativity, infinite intelligence, and it has an infinite responsiveness to us. And I am so grateful for that. And it's out of that gratitude that I know that I'll open myself more and more and more. These are the words I speak for everyone here. I speak them in the first person. But they're spoken for everyone here. They're the affirmation for the life of everybody here. And as I accept this, as I allow it, I know that whatever needs to be healed in my life is healed. And healing is a simple word that comes from the same root word that means to be made whole. So I am made whole, and I accept the wholeness of this congregation before me right now. The perfect healing. I rejoice that this is so. I know that it's so. I feel so filled, full of the love of that presence and a certainty of the ongoing expressiveness of myself and others according to the reasons for which we are in this life experience. Thank you, thank you, thank you, Mother, Father, loving God. I accept this is so. I know that it is so. I rejoice that it is so. And together we say, and so it is, and so it is.